My beloved, you feel it before you see it, a sudden, electric hush in the room, as if the air itself is holding its breath. The world outside is noisy, relentless, but in this moment, something slices through the chaos. It's not a sound, not a flash, but a presence. You sense a message pressing in, urgent and undeniable, as if heaven itself is reaching for you. Your heart beats faster, not from fear, but from the weight of something sacred trying to break through. You know the difference between ordinary worry and a true spiritual alert. This is not just another anxious thought. This is a call. You pause, hands trembling, as if you're about to answer a phone that hasn't rung. There's a reason you're here, right now, listening. The noise of the day fades, replaced by a clarity that feels almost supernatural. You remember the stories, how God sends angels in moments of crisis, how messages come when the stakes are highest. But this is not a story about someone else. This is your moment. The sense of emergency is real, and it's not just about you. It's about your family, your legacy, and a truth that's been hidden for too long. Somewhere in the swirl of your thoughts, a name rises, a loved one who has already crossed over, someone you still feel in quiet moments. You remember their voice, their laughter, the way they used to look at you when you needed comfort. Now, it's as if they're reaching across the veil, desperate to get your attention. There's something they need you to know, something about money, about provision, about a blessing that was never meant to be lost. The urgency is not just about the money itself, but about what it represents: security, justice, restoration, and the breaking of a cycle that has haunted your family for generations. You wonder, why now? Why this message, at this hour? The answer is hidden in the tension between chaos and clarity. In the world's noise, it's easy to miss the quiet signals of heaven. But tonight, the message is too strong to ignore. You feel the weight of it in your chest, the way your spirit leans forward, hungry for revelation. There's a promise here, shimmering just out of reach, a promise that what was hidden will be revealed, that what was lost can be restored. But there's also a warning: if you turn away, if you let the noise drown out the call, the truth may slip away forever. You reach for your phone, half expecting a sign, a missed call, a text from an unknown number, a notification that doesn't make sense. You scan the room, searching for anything out of place: a letter tucked behind a photo frame, a key left on the counter, a timestamp on an old message. Every detail feels charged with meaning. The ordinary becomes extraordinary under the light of this moment. You realize that heaven is not far away, it's pressing in, closer than your own breath. Stay with me. There is more to this message than you realize. The next few moments could change everything. The truth is waiting, and the one who loves you from beyond is urging you not to miss it. What happens next depends on your willingness to listen, to lean in, to let the chaos fall away so that clarity can rise. The emergency is real, but so is the promise. Will you answer the call, or will you let the truth remain hidden? The choice is yours, and the story is just beginning. You know the ache I'm talking about, the one that sits quietly in your chest, a silent question that never quite goes away. Maybe you felt it late at night, when the world is asleep and you're left alone with your thoughts. Maybe it comes in waves, triggered by a bill you can't pay, a memory you can't shake, or a family story that never quite made sense. There's a sense that something is missing, a piece of your life or your legacy that slipped through your fingers before you even knew it was there. You wonder if you're the only one who feels this way, if anyone else carries the same invisible weight. You've tried to fill the emptiness with answers, searching through old drawers, asking questions that no one wants to answer, replaying conversations in your mind. You remember the way your parents or grandparents would change the subject when certain topics came up, the way their eyes would cloud over, the way silence would settle like dust in the corners of the room. There are secrets in every family, but some secrets feel heavier than others. Some feel like locked doors you were never given the key to. You sense that behind those doors is something meant for you, a blessing, a truth, a piece of your inheritance that was never meant to be lost. Financial anxiety is more than just numbers on a page. It's the feeling of standing at the edge of a cliff, wondering if the ground will hold. It's the fear that you'll never have enough, that you'll always be one step behind, that the promises spoken over your life have somehow passed you by. You see others walking in fullness, in peace, in provision, and you wonder why your story feels so different. You pray, you hope, you wait, but the emptiness lingers. It's not just about money. It's about what money represents: security, dignity, the ability to care for those you love, the freedom to dream without fear. Maybe you've inherited more than just your family's name. Maybe you've inherited their struggles, their silence, their unfinished prayers. You feel the weight of generations pressing down, the sense that you are carrying burdens that were never meant to be yours alone. You wonder if the cycle can ever be broken, if the emptiness can ever be filled. You long for a sign, a word, a moment of clarity that will make sense of the confusion. You want to know that you are seen, that your pain matters, that your story is not invisible to heaven. You are not alone in this. There are others who carry the same questions, the same ache, the same longing for restoration. But right now, this message is for you. Out of all the noise, all the distractions, you are the one who has been chosen to hear this call. There is a reason you are listening at this exact moment, a reason your heart is beating faster, a reason the words feel like they were written just for you. Heaven does not waste words. God does not send messages by accident. The ache you feel is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of calling. You are being invited into a story that is bigger than your pain, bigger than your past, bigger than the emptiness you have carried for so long. There is a fullness waiting for you, a restoration that goes deeper than finances or family secrets. The emptiness you feel is not the end of your story, it is the space where God is about to pour out something new. The burden you carry is not a punishment, but a sign that you are trusted with something sacred. You are the bridge between what was lost and what will be found. You are the one chosen to break the silence, to open the door, to receive the blessing that has been waiting for you. Stay with me. The next part of this message will reveal why the ache in your heart is not an accident, and how the emptiness you feel is about to be filled with purpose. There is a reason you are here, and the story is about to unfold in ways you never expected. There are moments in life when you sense you're standing at the edge of something holy, a threshold between what has always been hidden and what is finally ready to be revealed. This is one of those moments. The air feels charged, as if heaven is holding its breath, waiting to see what you will do next. The stakes are higher than you realize, because this isn't just about money or a forgotten inheritance. It's about the legacy of your family, the prayers of those who came before you, and the future of those who will come after. What you do with this message could echo for generations. Every family has its secrets, its unspoken stories, its treasures buried beneath layers of silence. Sometimes these secrets are born out of love, a desire to protect, to shield, to keep pain at bay. Other times, they are born out of fear or shame, a hope that if something is never spoken, it will simply fade away. But the truth is, what is hidden does not disappear. It waits. It lingers in the quiet moments, in the questions that never quite get answered, in the dreams that feel just out of reach. The boundary between hidden and revealed is sacred, and crossing it is not something to be taken lightly. You may feel the weight of this boundary in your own life. Maybe you've sensed there was more to your family's story than anyone ever told you. Maybe you've felt the tension in a room when certain topics come up, the way eyes dart away, the way voices grow quiet. There is a line that runs through every family, a line between what is safe to share and what must be kept in the shadows. Sometimes that line is drawn by love, sometimes by fear, sometimes by the hope that the next generation will not have to carry the same burdens. But the line is always there, marking the difference between what is hidden and what is revealed. The risk of crossing this boundary is real. If you move too quickly, if you let greed or anger guide you, you risk wounding those you love or reopening old wounds that have never truly healed. If you let fear or secrecy hold you back, you risk missing the blessing that was meant for you, the truth that could set you free. The sacredness of this moment is found in the balance, honoring what has been hidden, but also being willing to step into the light when the time is right. The line must not be crossed out of selfishness or pride, but out of a deep desire for healing, for justice, for restoration. There is a reason why some things are hidden. Sometimes, the timing is not right. Sometimes, hearts are not ready. But when heaven begins to stir, when the message comes with urgency, it is a sign that the season has shifted. What was once kept in the shadows is now being called into the light. The risk is great, but so is the reward. If you honor the boundary, if you move with humility, with prayer, with a heart open to God's leading, you will find that what is revealed brings healing, not harm. But if the line is crossed in haste or bitterness, the consequences can ripple far beyond what you can see. This is the sacred tension you are being invited into. The contrast between hidden and revealed is not just about secrets and truth, it is about the condition of your heart. Will you approach this moment with reverence, or will you let old patterns of fear and secrecy dictate your steps? Will you trust that what is meant for you will not pass you by, or will you grasp for answers before you are ready to receive them? The boundary is not a wall to keep you out, but a threshold to prepare you for what is coming. You are not alone as you stand at this line. The prayers of your ancestors, the guidance of angels, and the wisdom of heaven are with you. The message that has broken through is not just information, it is an invitation to step into a new chapter, to honor the past while embracing the future. The risk of loss is real, but so is the promise of restoration. What happens next depends on how you honor the boundary, how you listen for God's voice, how you move forward with courage and humility. Stay with me. The next part of this message will reveal the hidden mechanics at work behind the scenes, how heaven is orchestrating events, how the unseen is becoming seen, and how you are being prepared for the moment when what was hidden is finally revealed. The line you stand on is sacred, and what you choose now will shape not only your story, but the story of those who come after you. There is a world behind the world you see, a realm where prayers never die, where angels move in silence, where the intentions of heaven are woven into the fabric of your everyday life. You may not always notice it, but you are surrounded by evidence that you are not alone. The contrast between what is seen and what is unseen is sharper than you think. You walk through your days believing you are the only one carrying the weight, but in truth, there are hands at work on your behalf, hands you cannot see but can sometimes feel in the quietest moments. Think back to the times when you felt a sudden urge to check a drawer you hadn't opened in years, or when a memory surfaced out of nowhere, pointing you towards something you had forgotten. Maybe you found a letter tucked inside a book, the handwriting familiar, the words speaking directly to a question you had just whispered in prayer. Or perhaps you noticed a key left on the counter, one you didn't remember placing there, but which unlocked a box you'd almost given up on. These are not accidents. They are the fingerprints of heaven, the subtle cues that divine justice is at work, even when you cannot see the full picture. Your ancestors' prayers are still alive, echoing through time, shaping the path beneath your feet. The blessings they asked for, the protection they pleaded for, the restoration they longed for, they did not vanish when their voices grew silent. Instead, those prayers became seeds, planted in the soil of your family's story, waiting for the right season to break through. You are living in the harvest of prayers you never heard, and you are being watched over by angels who know your name. The world may tell you that you are alone, but heaven knows better. Sometimes, the mechanics of divine justice are hidden in the ordinary. A phone call from an unknown number at just the right moment. A message with a timestamp that matches a date you can't forget. The way your heart stirs when you walk past a certain room, as if someone is urging you to look again. These are the gentle nudges, the quiet reminders that you are being guided, protected, and prepared. The unseen is always working to bring the hidden into the light, to turn what was lost into something found. You may wonder why things take so long, why answers seem delayed, why the truth remains just out of reach. But what you cannot see is the way heaven is aligning every detail, orchestrating every moment, so that when the time comes, the revelation will be undeniable. Justice in the kingdom of God is not rushed. It is precise, intentional, and always rooted in love. The delays you experience are not denials, they are preparations. The unseen hands are making sure that when the truth is revealed, it will bring healing, not harm, restoration, not regret. There are forces that work against you, yes, forces that thrive in secrecy, confusion, and fear. But they are no match for the persistence of God's love or the faithfulness of those who have gone before you. Every time you feel a sudden peace in the middle of chaos, every time you sense a presence in the room when you pray, every time you receive a sign that feels too personal to be random, you are witnessing the mechanics of divine justice in motion. The seen and the unseen are not as far apart as you think. You are being protected in ways you may never fully understand. The money that was hidden, the truth that was buried, the blessing that seemed lost, none of it has escaped heaven's notice. Angels have been dispatched on your behalf, working quietly, moving obstacles, softening hearts, and preparing the way. The prayers of your ancestors are still being answered, sometimes in ways you cannot yet see. The story is not over, and the forces working for your restoration are greater than those working against you. Stay with me. The next part of this message will bring the opposition into focus, those patterns and intentions that have tried to keep you from what is rightfully yours. But remember, even in the face of resistance, the unseen hands of heaven are still at work, and the promise of justice is closer than you think. There is a reason the truth has been so hard to find. For every unseen hand working for your good, there are also forces that thrive in the shadows, patterns of delay, confusion, and even betrayal that have tangled themselves around your story. You may have felt it as a constant resistance, a sense that every time you get close to an answer, something slips away. The contrast between delay and delivery is not just a matter of time, it is a spiritual battle, a tug-of-war between what is meant for you and what has tried to keep you from it. Think back to the moments when hope seemed just within reach, only to be snatched away by a sudden change, a lost document, or a conversation that ended in silence. Maybe you've experienced the sting of betrayal, a promise broken, a trust violated, a secret kept from you by someone you thought you could rely on. The voice of doubt whispers that you are forgotten, that the blessing has passed you by, that what was hidden will never be revealed. These are not just random setbacks, they are patterns, woven through your family's story, designed to keep you waiting, questioning, and doubting your worth. Delay is a thief in its own right. It steals your peace, your confidence, your sense of timing. It makes you second-guess every decision, replay every conversation, wonder if you missed your moment. The longer the wait, the heavier the burden becomes. You start to wonder if the opposition is stronger than the promise, if the shadows will always win. But even in the midst of delay, there is a line that must not be crossed, a moral boundary between what is rightfully yours and what has been withheld out of fear, greed, or misunderstanding. You may have seen this line drawn in subtle ways, or will rewritten in secret, a conversation cut short, a family member who suddenly grows distant when certain topics arise. The opposition is rarely loud, it prefers to work in whispers, in half-truths, in the quiet closing of doors. It feeds on confusion, hoping you will give up before the truth comes to light. But you are not powerless in the face of these patterns. The very fact that you are still searching, still listening, still hoping, is proof that the story is not finished. The shadow of past betrayals can feel long, but it cannot erase what God has set aside for you. The voice of doubt may be persistent, but it is not the final word. There is a moral clarity that comes when you refuse to let bitterness take root, when you choose to stand on the side of truth, even when it costs you comfort or certainty. The opposition may have delayed the delivery, but it cannot deny the promise. What is rightfully yours is still waiting to be revealed. Stay with me. The next part of this message will show you the signs and signals that the truth is beginning to surface. Even in the face of delay, there are clues that delivery is on its way. The opposition may have tried to keep you in the dark, but the light is breaking through, and what was hidden is about to be seen. Sometimes, the most important messages arrive in the quietest ways. You may be waiting for a thunderclap, a dramatic sign, but often, revelation begins with a whisper. The contrast between silence and revelation is sharp. One moment, everything is still, and the next, a single detail changes everything. You might not even realize it at first. It could be a sudden memory that rises up while you're washing dishes, a face you haven't thought of in years, or a phrase that echoes in your mind long after the world has gone to sleep. These are not random. They are signals, gentle nudges from heaven, guiding you toward the truth that's been waiting to surface. You notice the small things first. Maybe you're sorting through old papers and your hand lingers on a gray envelope you've never seen before. The handwriting is familiar, but the return address is not. Inside, you find a letter dated years ago, words written in a moment of hope or fear, words that seem to speak directly to your present need. Or perhaps you receive a phone call from an unknown number. You hesitate, almost letting it go to voicemail, but something in you says, "Answer." The voice on the other end is shaky, uncertain, but they mention a name you've been praying about, a detail only someone close to your family would know. The call is brief, but it leaves you with more questions than answers, and a sense that you are not alone in your search. Sometimes, the signs come in dreams. You wake up with a name on your lips, a street address you haven't visited in years, or a vivid image of a room you haven't entered since childhood. The dream lingers, refusing to fade, and you find yourself drawn to revisit old places, to open boxes you thought were empty, to ask questions you were once too afraid to voice. You might find yourself typing a message to a relative, then deleting it, unsure if you're ready to break the silence. Or maybe you notice a door left ajar in your home, a room you rarely enter, but today, something tells you to step inside. There, on a shelf, you find a small object, a key, a photograph, a folded piece of paper, that seems to pulse with meaning. The signals are rarely loud, but they are persistent. You might hear a name whispered in prayer, or see it written in the margin of an old Bible. You might stumble across a timestamp on a message, a date that matches an anniversary or a birthday, a subtle reminder that nothing is forgotten in the eyes of heaven. Sometimes, it's a conversation overheard in a grocery store, a phrase that catches your attention and won't let go. Other times, it's the way your heart races when you walk past a certain place, as if someone is urging you to look again, to pay attention, to not let this moment slip by. You may find yourself drawn to revisit old conversations, to reread messages you once dismissed, to listen for the details that didn't make sense before. The truth has a way of surfacing when you are ready to receive it. The silence that once felt suffocating begins to crack, and light seeps in through the smallest openings. You realize that every delay, every unanswered question, every moment of confusion was preparing you for this season of revelation. The signs are all around you, if you are willing to see them. There is a tension in this process, a sense that you are on the edge of something important, but you don't yet know what it is. You feel the weight of every clue, the possibility that the next detail could be the one that unlocks everything. You start to trust your instincts more, to follow the gentle nudges, to believe that you are being guided. The contrast between silence and revelation becomes a dance, a rhythm of waiting and receiving, of searching and finding. You are not chasing shadows, you are following a trail that has been laid out for you, step by step. Sometimes, the final clue is the one you almost overlook. It could be a message left on your doorstep, a photograph that falls out of a book, a story shared by a friend who didn't know you needed to hear it. It might be a moment of sudden clarity, when all the scattered pieces come together and you see the pattern for the first time. Or it could be a gentle voice in your spirit, reminding you that you are not alone, that you are seen, that the truth is not lost, it is waiting to be found. Stay with me. The next part of this message will reveal what happens when all the signs converge, when the truth finally breaks through the silence, and when the story you've been living begins to make sense in the light of revelation. The final clue is closer than you think, and the moment of unveiling is almost here. There comes a moment when the waiting ends. You may not know the exact second it happens, but suddenly, the air feels different. The tension that's been building, the questions that have haunted you, the ache of not knowing, all of it begins to dissolve as the truth finally steps out of the shadows. This is the turn, the moment when fear gives way to peace, and what was hidden is brought into the light. You feel it in your bones before you see it with your eyes, the sense that something sacred is unfolding, that heaven's timing has arrived, and that you are standing in the center of a story that is bigger than you ever imagined. It might begin with a single act of courage, a decision to open that envelope, to answer that call, to walk into the room you've avoided for years. Your heart pounds, but you move forward anyway, trusting that the same God who brought you this far will not leave you now. You find the letter, the key, the document, or the small box tucked away in a forgotten drawer. Your hands tremble as you hold it, the weight of generations pressing into your palms. You read the words, see the numbers, or recognize the handwriting, and suddenly, everything makes sense. The money that was hidden, the inheritance that was lost, the blessing that was delayed, it is all here, waiting for you. The contrast between fear and peace is never clearer than in this moment. For so long, you lived with the fear of never knowing, of never having enough, of being left out of the story. But now, as the truth is unveiled, peace settles over you like a gentle blanket. You realize that the delay was not a denial, but a preparation. Every unanswered question, every closed door, every moment of confusion was leading you to this exact place. The timing is not random, it is divine. Justice and protection have been working together behind the scenes, orchestrating every detail so that when the truth arrived, you would be ready to receive it. You may weep, not just for what was lost, but for what has been restored. The money is important, yes, but it is more than that. It is a sign that you are seen, that your prayers have been heard, that the promises spoken over your life are still alive. The spiritual inheritance is even greater, the knowledge that you are part of a legacy that cannot be erased, that the blessings of your ancestors are still flowing toward you, that the cycle of loss and silence has been broken. You feel the presence of those who have gone before you, their joy mingling with your own, their prayers finally answered in your hands. As you take in the fullness of this moment, you begin to see how justice and protection have always been intertwined. The delays that once felt cruel now reveal themselves as acts of mercy, giving you time to grow, to heal, to become the person who could carry this blessing with wisdom and grace. The opposition that tried to keep you in the dark has been overcome by the persistence of love, by the faithfulness of God, by the quiet work of angels and ancestors who never gave up on you. The story is not just about what you have received, but about who you have become in the process, a person marked by resilience, by hope, by a peace that passes understanding. This is not the end of the story, but the beginning of a new chapter. The revelation you have received is not just for you, but for your family, for those who will come after you, for anyone who has ever wondered if restoration is possible. You are now the keeper of the story, the one who can testify that what was lost can be found, that what was hidden can be revealed, that what was delayed can be delivered in perfect time. The peace you feel is not just for this moment, but for every moment to come, a reminder that you are never alone, that you are always seen, that the God who restores is still at work in your life. Stay with me. The next part of this message will show you how to walk forward from this moment, how to align your actions with the truth you have received, how to protect what has been restored, and how to live in the fullness of your inheritance. The new chapter is waiting, and you are ready to step into it. Now that the truth has come to light, you may feel a mixture of relief and uncertainty. What do you do next? How do you honor what's been revealed and protect what's been restored? This is the moment where the contrast between passivity and action becomes clear. You are not meant to simply receive this blessing and let it gather dust. You are called to step forward, to align your life with the message you've been given, and to steward this new chapter with wisdom and faith. Begin with prayer. Before you make any decisions, pause and invite God into the process. Thank Him for the revelation, for the protection, for the justice that has finally arrived. Ask for clarity, for discernment, for the courage to do what is right even when it feels difficult. Prayer is not just a ritual, it is your lifeline, your way of staying connected to the one who has guided you this far. In the quiet of prayer, you may sense new instructions, fresh peace, or even a gentle warning about how to proceed. Listen closely. Sometimes the next step is whispered, not shouted. Next, consider setting boundaries. Restoration often brings new opportunities, but it can also attract old patterns or people who once benefited from your silence. You have the right to protect what has been entrusted to you. This may mean having honest conversations with family members, clarifying what is yours to share and what is yours to keep. It may mean saying no to requests that do not align with the truth you now carry. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out, they are gates that allow you to steward your inheritance with integrity and peace. Document your discoveries. Write down what you have found, the dates, the details, the way the truth came to you. Keep copies of important letters, photographs, or documents in a safe place. If you received a phone call, jot down the time, the number, and what was said. If you found a key or an object, take a photo and note where it was discovered. These records are not just for your own memory, they may become important if questions arise in the future. They are also a testimony, a way of marking the faithfulness of God in your story. Seek wise counsel. You do not have to walk this path alone. If the restoration involves finances, property, or legal matters, consider reaching out to someone you trust, a pastor, a mentor, or a professional advisor. There is wisdom in seeking guidance, especially when the stakes are high. Remember, this is spiritual encouragement, not legal advice. Consider trusted counsel if your situation requires it. The right voices can help you navigate the complexities of your new chapter, ensuring that what has been restored is protected for generations to come. Take action, even if it's just a small step. Maybe it's making a phone call, scheduling a meeting, or starting a conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's opening a new account, updating a will, or simply sharing your testimony with someone who needs hope. Action breaks the cycle of passivity and signals to heaven that you are ready to steward what you've received. Every step you take in faith is a seed planted for future blessing. As you move forward, stay alert to new signs and signals. Sometimes, acting on one revelation opens the door to another. You may find that as you align your actions with the message, more truth surfaces, more restoration unfolds, and more peace settles over your life. The process is ongoing, a journey rather than a single event. Each act of obedience, each boundary set, each prayer whispered is a way of honoring the story God is writing through you. You may face resistance. Old patterns may try to reassert themselves. Doubt may whisper that you are not worthy, that the blessing will not last. But remember the journey you have taken, the delays, the signs, the moment of revelation. You are not the same person you were before. You have been entrusted with something sacred, and you have the strength to protect it. Stay with me. The next part of this message will reveal the resolution, the lifting of your identity, the vision for your future, and the peace that comes from living in alignment with heaven's timing. When you act in faith, you become a living testimony that what was lost can be found, and what was hidden can be restored. You have come so far. The journey from confusion to clarity, from longing to revelation, has changed you in ways you may not even realize yet. Where old wounds once shaped your story, now new beginnings are taking root. You are not defined by what was hidden or lost, but by what has been revealed and restored. In this moment, let yourself breathe in the truth. You are chosen, you are protected, and you are being made whole. The peace you feel now is not just the absence of conflict, it is the presence of something sacred. It is the quiet assurance that you are seen by heaven, that your prayers have not gone unheard, and that your story matters. The legacy you carry is not one of silence or secrecy, but of courage and faith. You are the bridge between generations, the one who chose to listen, to seek, to believe that restoration was possible. Because of your willingness to answer the call, your family's story is being rewritten. Imagine the future that is opening before you. See your family gathered, not in the shadow of old wounds, but in the light of new trust. Picture conversations marked by honesty, by hope, by a sense of shared blessing. The inheritance you have received, whether it is money, wisdom, or simply the truth, becomes a foundation for those who come after you. You are no longer carrying the weight alone. The burden has been lifted, and in its place is a sense of belonging, of purpose, of peace. You are not alone. The same God who guided you through the silence will walk with you into every new beginning. The prayers of your ancestors, the protection of angels, the love of those who have gone before, they are all with you, cheering you on as you step into this new chapter. The truth is no longer lost. It lives in you, and it will live on through you. Stay with me for one more moment. The story is not just about what has been found, but about what you will do with it. The next message will invite you to share your testimony, to bless others, and to step forward in faith, knowing that you are never alone. If this message has spoken to your heart, take a moment now to say, I receive, or simply, Amen. Your agreement is a seed of faith, a way of stepping out of isolation and into community. You are not alone in this journey. Others are walking this path with you, and your testimony could be the encouragement someone else needs. If you feel led, Share your story in the comments or with someone you trust. Save this message, share it with a friend, and let the blessing multiply. There is more to come. The next prophetic message will speak to even deeper restoration and new layers of protection for you and your family. Stay connected, stay expectant, and remember, you are part of a community that believes in miracles, in justice, and in the power of God to restore all things.